Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something you specifically requested. It's really fascinating. Biomedical engineering careers for individuals on the autism spectrum.
Oh, very cool.
You sent over this great article titled Exploring Biomedical Engineering Careers for Individuals with Autism. And, we're going to go beyond just summarizing it for you. We're going to look for those hidden gems and really unpack what this field might have to offer.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting because on the surface, you might not immediately connect engineering with autism, but when you take a closer look, there's a really compelling case to be made.
Yeah, okay. So before we get into the specifics, let's kind of level set.
Sure.
What exactly is biomedical engineering? I feel like a lot of people have heard the term, but maybe don't fully grasp what it entails.
Yeah, for sure. It's essentially the intersection of engineering, biology, and medicine.
Okay.
So, biomedical engineers are problem solvers at heart. They use their engineering skills to develop new technologies and therapies that can diagnose, treat, and even prevent diseases.
So how does this field potentially align with the strengths that someone on the autism spectrum might bring to the table? The article hints at this, but I'm curious to hear your take.
Yeah, I think one of the key aspects of biomedical engineering is this focus on systematizing. So think about designing a medical device. It requires breaking down complex systems into smaller, more manageable parts, understanding how those parts interact, and then putting them back together in a very precise and logical way.
Right.
And this kind of systematic thinking, which is often a strength for individuals on the autism spectrum, is highly valuable in this field.
That's a great point. It's not just about being good at math and science. It's about that ability to think systematically and see the patterns within these complex systems. So let's dive into some specific job roles within biomedical engineering that the article highlights. The first one that really caught my eye was the design and development engineer. What exactly does that role involve?
Yeah, so a design and development engineer in this field is a true innovator. So imagine designing a prosthetic limb that not only replicates movement, but also incorporates sensory feedback,
Oh,
allowing the user to actually feel sensations. And we're actually seeing cutting-edge prosthetics like this being developed right now, using technologies like targeted muscle reinnervation to create a more intuitive and lifelike experience for amputees.
wow, that's incredible. It sounds like this role really pushes the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare. But the article also mentioned a potential challenge here for individuals who prefer to work independently.
Right. So design and development, especially in a field as complex as biomedical engineering, it rarely happens in isolation. It's a highly collaborative process involving close teamwork with other engineers, scientists, clinicians, and even patients themselves.
So while that collaborative aspect might not be ideal for everyone on the spectrum, perhaps a role that involves more independent work, like a research engineer, might be a better fit. What does a research engineer do in the context of biomedical engineering?
So research engineers are the explorers of the biomedical world. They conduct studies to deepen our understanding of biological systems and apply that knowledge to develop new therapies and technologies.
Okay.
So, for example, they might be working on developing biocompatible materials for implantable devices or using gene editing techniques to target specific diseases. Like right now, there's groundbreaking research happening in areas like tissue engineering, where scientists are trying to grow functional organs in the lab to address the shortage of organ donors.
That's mind-blowing. To be at the forefront of such discoveries must be incredibly rewarding. But the article did point out some potential drawbacks of a research career.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is the competitive nature of research funding. Securing grants and resources to conduct these cutting-edge studies can be a constant battle.
Right.
And research, by its very nature, is a long game. So results often take years, if not decades, to materialize, which can be challenging for individuals who thrive on immediate feedback and tangible outcomes.
So patience and persistence are key in a research role. Now, shifting gears to a role that seems quite different, the article also discusses the quality assurance engineer. What's the focus of this role in biomedical engineering?
So while the design and development engineer might be creating the next revolutionary device, the quality assurance engineer is kind of the unsung hero working behind the scenes to ensure patient safety.
Okay.
They're really laser focused on making sure that every single medical device meets the most stringent quality and safety standards.
Okay, so it's all about precision, following protocols meticulously, and that eagle eye for detail, which, as we've discussed, could potentially align well with some of the strengths commonly associated with autism.
Absolutely. But the article does caution that this role comes with a unique set of pressures. I mean, the responsibility for patient safety is immense. Any oversight could have serious consequences, so it's a high-stakes environment that demands a certain level of resilience and meticulousness.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see how each of these roles, while all within the realm of biomedical engineering, have such distinct demands and potential challenges. Now, the final job type mentioned in the article is the clinical engineer. What does this role entail?
So the clinical engineer acts as a bridge between the engineering world and the clinical setting. They're the ones working directly in hospitals, clinics, and other healthcare facilities, ensuring that all the medical equipment is functioning properly and safely. Think of them as the guardians of the technology that keeps healthcare running smoothly.
It's a very hands-on role, which could
Uh,
be appealing for someone who likes to see the direct impact of their work. But the article also highlights a potential challenge in this role.
Yes, and it's a challenge that's specific to the clinical environment. So clinical engineers are constantly exposed to a wide range of patient situations, some of which can be emotionally challenging to witness. And the article suggests that this aspect of the role could be particularly difficult for individuals on the spectrum who might have heightened sensitivities or struggle with emotional regulation.
It's a really important consideration because while the technical skills are essential, being able to navigate the emotional complexities of a healthcare setting is crucial in this role.
Yeah, it's true. And it really highlights the importance of finding the right fit within biomedical engineering. It's not a one-size-fits-all field. There's so much diversity within these roles, which is actually quite exciting.
It's like you said earlier, you wouldn't necessarily think of engineering as a field that naturally aligns with autism, but the more we explore it, the more those connections kind of emerge. What stands out to you as the most important takeaway from the article, especially for our listener who's specifically considering this path?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the emphasis on self-awareness. And this goes beyond just knowing your strengths, right? It's about understanding your sensory preferences, your social comfort levels, and even your emotional regulation tendencies. Biomedical engineering, as we've seen, offers a wide spectrum of roles, each with its own unique demands. So, knowing yourself is crucial to finding a role where you can truly thrive.
It's like a puzzle, finding that perfect piece that fits both your skill set and your personality. So if our listener's thinking, okay, biomedical engineering sounds amazing, but how do I know if it's really right for me? What advice would you give them?
I would say don't get caught up in the label autism spectrum. Focus on your individual passions and interests.
Right.
Are you fascinated by the intricacies of the human body? Do you get excited by the idea of using technology to solve real-world medical problems? Does the thought of designing a life-changing device or conducting groundbreaking research like light a fire within you? Those are the questions to ask yourself.
I love that. It's about looking at the individual, not the diagnosis. And I think it's a really important message for anyone considering a career path, regardless of neurodiversity.
Now, the article acknowledges that there are some common challenges that individuals with ASD might face in any work environment. Can we dig into those a bit?
Absolutely. One of the most common challenges is sensory overload.
Okay.
Many workplaces are designed in ways that can be quite overwhelming for someone with sensory sensitivities. Think about a bustling lab environment with bright fluorescent lights, the constant hum of equipment, multiple conversations happening at once.
Right.
It can be very difficult to focus and feel comfortable in that kind of setting.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that could be a major barrier to feeling productive and successful in a work environment. What are some other challenges the article mentions? Another big one is navigating the social landscape of the workplace. So, understanding unwritten social rules, interpreting subtle cues, engaging in small talk. These can all be challenging for individuals on the spectrum. And it's not just about socializing during breaks, right? It's about understanding the nuances of communication, collaboration, and even office politics.
It's like there's this whole unspoken language of the workplace that isn't always explicitly taught.
Exactly. And it can create a lot of anxiety and stress for someone who might already be feeling a bit out of their element. So it's crucial to be aware of these challenges and to develop strategies for managing them effectively.
So what can be done to address these challenges and create a more inclusive and supportive work environment for individuals with ASD?
Well, I think first and foremost, it starts with awareness.
Okay,
The more employers and colleagues understand about autism and the diverse ways it presents, the better equipped they'll be to create a truly welcoming and accommodating workplace.
right.
Simple things like providing quiet workspaces, using clear and direct communication, and offering flexibility in work arrangements can make a huge difference.
It sounds like open communication is key here, both for the individual with ASD to feel comfortable advocating for their needs and for employers to create a culture where those needs are um, understood and respected.
Absolutely. And never underestimate the power of mentorship.
Okay.
Having a mentor who understands the unique challenges you might face, who can offer guidance and advice, can be invaluable. And this mentorship doesn't necessarily have to come from someone who is also on the autism spectrum. Sometimes, having a neurotypical mentor who is open-minded, empathetic, and willing to learn can be just as impactful.
That's a great point. It's about finding someone who gets you, who understands your strengths and challenges, and who can help you navigate the workplace effectively.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that these challenges and strategies aren't specific to biomedical engineering.
Right.
They resonate across many industries and professions.
It's a broader conversation about recognizing neurodiversity in the workplace and creating environments where everyone can thrive. And speaking of broader resources, the article didn't dive into specific organizations, but I'm sure there are many out there that support individuals with ASD who are interested in STEM careers.
Oh, there are. Organizations like the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network and Autism Speaks offer fantastic resources, including career guidance, mentorship programs, and information on workplace accommodations. They're definitely worth checking out.
Great. We'll be sure to include links to those resources in the show notes for anyone who wants to learn more.
Perfect.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the specific nuances of biomedical engineering roles to the broader themes of workplace inclusion and support for individuals with ASD. What are your thoughts on the future of this field, especially as it relates to neurodiversity?
Well, I think the future is incredibly promising. As awareness of neurodiversity grows and as more individuals with ASD enter the workforce, we're going to see a shift in how we think about talent and potential. The unique strength that individuals on the spectrum bring to the table, their attention to detail, their ability to systematize, their innovative thinking, these are all qualities that are in high demand in fields like biomedical engineering.
It's exciting to think about the groundbreaking innovations that could emerge when we create workplaces that truly embrace neurodiversity.
I couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that different minds bring different perspectives and approaches to problem solving. And when we harness that diversity of thought, we all benefit.
Yeah, it really feels like we're on the cusp of a major shift in how we think about work and neurodiversity. And hopefully this deep dive has given our listener with a solid foundation for exploring biomedical engineering as a potential career path.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think we've managed to unpack not just the nuts and bolts of the roles themselves, but also the nuances of how those roles might intersect with the strengths and challenges of someone on the autism spectrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to emphasize that this is just the beginning of the exploration. There's so much more to discover within biomedical engineering, and it's a field that's, constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And I think the key takeaway here is that individuals with ASD have a lot to offer this field.
Right.
Their unique perspectives, their attention to detail, their problem-solving skills, these are all assets that can drive innovation and progress in biomedical engineering.
Well said. So for our listener who inspired this deep dive, we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay. Given everything we've explored today, the different roles, the potential challenges, the incredible rewards, which of these biomedical engineering paths, sparks your curiosity the most and why? We encourage you to really reflect on your own strengths, your interests, and your aspirations as you navigate this exciting field.
Yeah, it's been such a fascinating journey exploring this topic with you. And to our listener, thank you for trusting us to take this deep dive with you.
Absolutely. We hope this has given you a fresh perspective on biomedical engineering and the incredible opportunities that await.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.